Welcome back. Today, working on the Civic. We got some lovely things in store today. Been busy, pretty busy. I got married, but finally got some time. Today, we'll be changing out the fuel system. Got a new fuel rail, new fuel filter, because changing out mine. I guess that's obvious because I got one. And then new fuel lines. I think they're PTFE tubing. Is what it is. So I'm gonna put you on the tripod, and then I'm gonna open these because it's been a while that I've had these, so I've messed with them. So I'm gonna do as much of an unboxing as I can for you, but I'm gonna just get into it. All right, which one first? So nothing too crazy, but got a Deechworks inline filter. Again, I've messed with it. I've got it set up, but this is what it looks like. It's a 10 micron filter, which you have to filter it down to that level so that you don't have any contaminants going into your fuel injectors and clogging them. So, got this. We'll have to figure out a way to mount it. I'm thinking in the engine bay, but we'll get there. Then, here are the fuel lines from eBay. You know, I don't have all the money in the world, so went with eBay stuff. So these are just the fittings. We got 180s, straights, 90s, and I think 45s. If I can grab one. 45. So there's those, and I think there's two of the different angles and then four straights. Then here's the actual tubing. So there's the PTFE liner on the inside, which you want to go with this if you're running like E85, because that plastic basically is able to withstand the alcohol that's inside of the E85. So that's why you go with PTFE versus just a normal AN rubber hose. These are some quick connects. So here's the quick connect that's in the Civic normally. So there's a quick connect, and then we're just going to be able to hook up the 6AN line. And then on the other side, where it's just hard line for the return, this is like a crush system. I don't remember the proper term. I'll throw that up on the screen, but you'll cut the line, put this end on, then put this, I think they call it an olive or something. You drop that in there, and then when you tighten it down, it'll crush around the hard line and turn it into an AN line. So doing that just for simplicity of having AN all around from front to back. That's it for the lines. Last, we have the good old AM fuel rail. So, again, you can see how long it's been sitting. It's gotten dust now. So, AM fuel rail, and then the fuel regulator, which also has 6AN coming in and out, and then just a fuel pressure gauge just right on here so I can see, and then just a little 90 that I also got off Amazon. These two came off Amazon. This was eBay. Rest I think was eBay. Gonna hop over. Just gonna start working on, unfortunately, making my car inoperable by cutting the fuel lines and then switching all this stuff out. This is the line that'll have like the most fuel come out of it, just because it's the feed line, and then the fuel filter has just extra fuel just soaked into it. So it'll be the one with the most gas that you have to worry about. And the other thing that I just wanted to quickly talk about is the new fuel filter. I'm hoping I can figure out a way to mount it up here. Might have to get rid of this or move this. That's a power line into, or I guess it's technically the fuse into the car for like my gauges and stuff. Because I have a separate fuse block that feeds power to. So hoping to figure out a way to mount this up here just so it's in a similar location. So it's the next day. I think it's the next day. But been working on stuff a little off camera and have come up with something that I think will work. Got the filter flipped around so that it's facing the correct way. And so we have one of those threaded holes that's in the firewall already. Got that. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this side and then throw a riv nut in there to secure the other side down. All right, so I just drilled it out to the size of the riv nut. Again, if this is your first time seeing a riv nut, it's just a threaded rivet because what you do is you squish that and it grips onto the sheet metal. You just open it up, thread it on, and then what I'll do is put it in the hole and then close it. Now, if I did everything right, should be able to mount this up no problem. Not gonna go anywhere. Next is going to the fuel tank through the cabin to disconnect some of the lines. Unfortunately, start cutting some. So it's almost the point of no return, the part I've been dreading. But we'll get it done. So here's a look at that fuel pump that I have in here by Beachworks. So it's a 255 liter per hour pump. Oh, there's gas coming out. But gonna try and figure out a way to cut this without, causing a fire. I have just like a pipe cutter, but since this top housing is in the way, not sure if I'm gonna be able to get in there, but gonna figure that one out. Try and see if I can just bend this up out of the way. Oh. I had to fix my Dremel because for some time now it runs at only full speed. So I literally couldn't have done this without fixing this. So I had to literally take this apart. As you can tell by the stickers being off, they're over here. So I literally had to take this all apart, clean it, and then come back to this. All right, so now I'm able to put the olive on here. So we have the olive on there. Next is just some oil. So I found this in the Civic, even though it's not even for the Civic. We're gonna take some on the olive front threads. There's a little shelf in here that it has to fully sit on the end of the hard line. So it stopped there. I have to bring this up and start threading it on. And it has to stay pressed up against or end of the line. There she is. It's late. I'm not gonna do anymore, but that's this done. Can throw this back in the car, get it all ready so that we can mock up lines, start running them. I gotta get y'all to look at this. So these are my lines. Those green ones are like replaced brake lines. Then the bottom, the next two are the fuel lines that we're replacing, thankfully. I don't know what that last one is. I think it's just a vent pipe. Then it transitions to just super rusty brake lines. So that's lovely. I guess more content, but to think about when driving this car. And I'm just worried that something's going to happen taking these off. So, gonna give me some PB Blaster and spray these. This piece took forever to get out. I had to cut it in two spots, as you can see. This is part of the main line. I don't have many gripes with Hondas, but this is for sure one it comes up from being underneath and up and over the subframe, and then it comes up to the top part. So to seamlessly get it out, you would probably have to drop the subframe to be able to just pull this right out. Yeah, so we're done for tonight because it's late. I'm hungry and my hands are dirty even after I washed them, because this is the second time I'm recording this because my phone overheated and stopped recording. So I'm going to go get something to eat, shower, sleep, and then we'll be back at this to put the lines in. It's another day. I'm going to get into moving over the fuel injectors, put them in the new AM fuel rail, throwing this on the car so that we can know where to run the lines to and from, to and fro, some might say. Pop these out and just do that for all of them. So I've got it marked, and I'm not going to cut it just yet, because I'm actually going to put this 90 on that's coming from the fuel filter, put it on so I know like exactly where the other end of the line is going to be. So I'm going to take this tape off, and then you'll slide this over so that it's on the line. Then this is the tough part with PTFE tubing, I hear, is you actually have to get this in between the braiding around it and on top of the actual plastic piece. Some people get a pick and spread it out just so that you're able to fit this in there. It seems to be starting just fine. And then you have to get it seated all the way down until it bottoms out. Next thing you want to do is oil the threads a little bit and this piece that's like protruding out, just because you want this to go on as smoothly as you can, forcing it down in there all the way till it seats on the olive. You bring back piece up, start threading it on. And once it gets tight, these are just some soft jaws that are meant for making lines from, you guessed it, eBay. I believe that's where I got them. Maybe I actually got these from Amazon. It's one of the two. But you'll want to pay attention to, when turning this, pay attention to the line not wanting to, it'll try and push out of the fitting. What you want to do is have some pressure back here while you're twisting this on. Nothing to it but to do it. And I will be one of those people that wants to line up the flat and left just the smallest gap in between here. Hopefully it holds pressure. You ain't posting in a minute, boy. You must be doing bad. They know. That's the last line. I've put in the line from the fuel filter to the fuel rail, from the pump to the fuel filter, so the feed line. This is a return line. So we're gonna go struggle and put it in. I'm gonna try and go backwards this time. All the others I've ran from the front to the back. I'm gonna see if this is any simpler. Well, that's connected there. Just gotta run it and connect it up front.
2 hours later.
That's every line connected. So that wraps up everything for the fuel system. With seeing those brake lines, I might change those out before I drop this down, but I might just worry about this just because on that first drive it would be terrible to try and worry about fuel leaking as well as not having brakes. So probably just gonna stick with this And then if this goes well and there's no leaks, then might try and tackle the brakes. But right now, just gonna button everything back up. Not gonna bore you with that. It's a lot of work. Anybody that tries to say it's not is lying. It'd probably be way better to do this. Well, of course it would be way better to do this with no engine in, no subframe in, ripping the old lines out and putting the new ones in, but it's not how that worked here. So at least I was able to somewhat show the struggles of doing it with the engine in and the subframe in still. Might have to cut the lines and pull a little harder, but it's doable. Same with putting them in, especially since these are flexible to an extent. You really just have to worry about making sure that the fittings fit through whatever hole you're trying to get in. It's doable. If you want it, I'm gonna put the links to everything down in the description, even the fuel injectors that I have. So I'll put the fuel injectors, fuel rail, gauge, even this 90 fitting. The fuel pressure regulator came with this because it's specific to E16. That fuel filter, I think that's really it. So I'll throw all that in the description. If you enjoyed the video, like it, comment down if you would have done something different, if you've done something like this, whatever it may be, and subscribe. Catch you on the next one.